Welcome back to another video. If you can't tell, I am in the 325IS, and I have been daily driving this car for like the last week. Pretty much zero problems with the car so far, but I am trying to stress test it best I can. Now don't get me wrong, there's still a ton of things to tackle on this car, like a laundry list of things to get done to make it the E36 that I had intended on building. I mean just looking around, we got a ways to go. We still have a check engine light, and I'm not sure why that is. I'm gonna tell you guys straight up, I got this car tuned through 22 RPD. I'm going to reach out to them later today. I've been very frustrated with the tune that I received from them because it is not what I ordered. So, yeah, we're still gonna drive the car. We have some things to do on the car today though, and that's what this video will be about.
Hi, welcome to McDonald's. What can I get started for you today?
Thank you. So as I said, I have been driving this car for the past week. One thing I really want to do is get the hose water out of here. I know that's terrible, you should never do that, but I was kind of in a pinch with this car. I just wanted to kind of get it going, and yeah, stuck the garden hose in there. So I am going to flush the water out of this and put proper coolant in it. So I don't know why, but this thing hangs like a tick to the right, and I've talked to other people about this and they have the same problem. I do know some people that have it hang a tick to the left, so I don't know what that's about, but this car is up to temp and remaining at temperature, but I am going to take it on a test drive. checking back in. I've been driving this car to work and back every single day. Granted, it's only a few miles. I've not even driven the Duramax ever since I put this car back together. So at every opportunity, I drive this car whenever I can, wherever I can. There are some problems that I need to tackle as soon as possible, and we're gonna go into those now. I'm pretty sure I know why everything is not working the way it should be. So we're gonna go ahead and cover that. So I don't believe I talked about the catch can setup that I came up with. This is a super cheap, easy, and simple solution. Got the catch can from Amazon, 60 bucks, came with the AN10 line, plus 390s and 345, so you can kind of do it how you want it. The only other thing I ended up buying for this was the Rally Road little adapter that goes right into the PCV fitting. And then because I am running an M50 fuel rail, it's a little bit different, but they sell one for an M52 and an M50. The catch can doesn't even dump to atmosphere or back into the exhaust like the proper way. It's just capped off and then just empty this from time to time, of course, ventilated. I try to keep it as far from the exhaust manifold as I could. However, this is just a factory mounting location for the washer bottle, so it kind of works out. There's never gonna be a ton of oil in here, so I'm not super concerned. So the reason I'm in the engine bay is because we do have a check engine light, and after doing the stomp test, it actually just led me right to the purge valve, and this would make sense. I ran to my storage and I got the purge valve. So what I'm gonna do is just plug this back in. Hopefully that's all I need for this light to go away. And if not, I think I can just trick it with a resistor like you can with airbags and similar setups. So hopefully that this is all I need. I'm not sure like if there's a certain tolerance it needs to be metered, and then like if that throws the check engine light off, but I don't think so. I think it just needs to know that something's plugged in there. So I'm gonna plug it back in and just tuck it somewhere in the bay. Hopefully that will get rid of our light. Just plug this in. We'll just hide it somewhere here once we know it works or doesn't. I'm gonna disconnect the battery because, oh, check engine light's off. Never mind, that's cool, sick. So check engine light is off. Every light is off apart from one light that will come back as soon as I start driving this car. Somehow the speedo stopped working in the last few days, so I'm gonna jack it up and check the wheel speed sensor because I know the one in the diff looks okay and it worked just fine. So one of them is bad, I'd imagine, because the speedo doesn't work. So to me that points to one of the speed sensors. All right, so I put the car back on the ground. I was trying to diagnose why the ABS light was on. I pulled all the wheel speed sensors and cleaned them aside from one. It was so seized in the trailing arm that it actually snapped off. So I don't know how I'm gonna get that out. That's another mission for another time because there's like a straight up crack in the brake rotor. So I'm gonna pull the caliper off and then I'll show you this once it's off the car. Alright, so last week the work on this car got cut short. I'll show you that in a second. This car is at its 99% and I believe I have close to the final percent of everything that I would like for this car. And it's all ready, it's all here, so hopefully I can get that achieved today. We have a laundry list of things to take care of on this car, so let's get right into it. Tell me you've seen some shit like this. Look at that crack. Right here, all cracked, like separating. So I'd imagine this no longer spins true. It's a good thing we got brakes because I cannot run rotors like that. I'm gonna give you a breakdown on everything I ordered for the car. But before I do that, I want to give a huge thanks for liking these videos, subscribing, sharing them and everything because actually, believe it or not, I pulled my monetization for the first time, or my AdSense rather, and this actually, the views and whatever, has paid for this FCP Euro order, and it's pretty surreal. So I really needed this stuff and it was not cheap, so thank you so much for watching these videos and dealing with ads because they do very much help smaller creators. And yeah, like I said, the fact that I was able to pay for this order with AdSense like blows my mind. And I always told you guys I'd invest it back into the channel, and I think I am doing that with this. Up here we have some miscellaneous stuff. This should be everything we need to get the rear end of the car dialed in. I'll show you why I need a new speed sensor when we get there. This is hopefully gonna work for brake pads instead of using C-clamps. New gas cap, found an evap leak with the old one. This is that little exhaust spacer ring. So this will be super rewarding because I've been waiting on this guy, and that will fix our little exhaust leak. This is an OEM wheel speed sensor, so hopefully this fixes our weird speedometer not working issue. Otherwise, I'll have to troubleshoot that further. And then of course, some O-rings for the parts here. So of course, I can't just go ahead and replace one brake rotor. So I actually have a full set of 4 here with a full set of pads and new brake pad wear sensors. This kit was packaged by FCP, so this is something on their website that you can just buy for your car, and they'll send you everything you need. And now it's time to install it all. Okay, so the other day was a complete shit show. Extracting that snapped ABS sensor out of the trailing arm was just a nightmare. It took, I think, like 2 hours. I had tried everything. I drilled into it. I was trying to pry it out with, with a pick. I used chisels. I used everything, and that sensor was just one with the trailing arm. But luckily, the 𝙠𝙚 sensor that I actually put back in there is plastic, so if it does get seized again, hopefully we won't ever have to deal with that again. I got everything installed. I still have a few problems with this car. Nothing too major, but I'll go ahead and show you where the car is at its current state, and that'll probably wrap up the video. Let me know what you guys think about these 68s. I think these look sweet on this car. I actually picked up a set of 6 4 fronts and 2 rears from a buddy of mine for $100. So these are awesome burners, and most of them have tires. So it rubs pretty bad right now, but I think I want to go a little lower with this car overall. Do you like the Style 32s or the 68s? Drop it down in the comments below. I think maybe just because the finish on the 68s is nicer, I think I'm rocking with the 68s. So regardless, I'll probably keep both sets of these and just clean up the 32s when I have time. I actually have some brand new 205/40 𝙤𝙧 that I got off Priority Tire. And Style 68s and 32s in their staggered form whenever you have a set. They're both 7.5 front, 8.5 rear, so I can put the 205/40s on either these or the 68s, whatever I decide looks best. I have the lower shock mounts, the shorter ones that Silver sent out to me, that I can swap onto these coilovers, and then we'll be able to kind of match ride height. But this is as low as the front will let me go right now, so I don't want to lower this and then have this not as low as I want it. So I want to be able to fine tune all the fitment at once, and that will be its own video. I do want to talk about the interior. It's near complete, almost 100%. The only interior pieces that I'm missing at this point are the shift boot, the switch. Not that it doesn't function, it just looks super ugly. It doesn't have the bezel or the trim holding it in here, and it doesn't have the cover. So if you have one of these green switches and you're not trying to charge me $150, I will gladly buy that from you, because that's the only interior flaw I would say at this moment. But I want to talk about these seats. These seats I picked up from my buddy Graham. He just gave them to me, and these actually came out of a 318 IS. Look at how cool these are. I know they don't match the interior perfectly, but they are so much more comfortable than those torn up leather seats. They are fully manual, non-heated, just like as bare bones as it gets. And on a car like this, that is what I prefer. Just want it to be as analog as possible, and these seats definitely achieve that. It doesn't show up too well on camera, but these have a pretty cool pattern. I'm really not sure how many seats like these are floating around, because I know that this is pretty limited, and they may just be any old seats, but here in the United States, we didn't get that many cloth cars, believe it or not. It was mainly leather, so the cloth stuff, I think, is way more comfortable, and it's just better in a car like this. Not much else has changed with this car, and not much else will change immediately. Next thing on the list, dial in fitment, get a hood and a bumper. It's just gonna clean this car up and make it look so much better and less janky. And of course, dial in the fitment, and after that it'll probably sit for a little bit while I start focusing on some other projects. The E30 build, that will be starting very soon. And of course I want to get this car out to the track, and we will do that eventually. So that stuff is all in the works. Real quick though, I do want to say thanks. We're almost at 2,000 subscribers, and to me that blows my mind. Like I can't even imagine that. So I sincerely appreciate all the support, and yeah, stay tuned for hopefully next week's video. Peace.